Hi, today we are going to talk about lights. Your headlights, your automatic headlights, the automatic high beams, all that stuff. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you kind of a funny story on why I'm doing this video. I thought that this was pretty self-explanatory, but you know what? It's actually not. And so let's go through it. So let's start off with just the basic operation of your headlights. If you turn this switch down here, it says DRL off. Well, that is the complete off position on your headlights. If you turn it to this position that says auto, then your headlights are going to turn on when it is dark and off when it is light. How does it do that? That little sensor right there. I'm going to cover up this sensor, and that sensor takes a little bit of time, but eventually it's going to notice that things are dark. And when it does notice that, it's going to turn on our headlights. And you'll see momentarily, need the Jeopardy music. Okay, now, see that little green light there? That little light there is what's telling us that our headlights are on. Always watch for that little green light because that makes a difference. So I'm going to pull this book off of here, and you will see, well, it takes a while for it to finally cycle around and realize that it's nice and bright and sunny out. So I'm going to turn it off and then back on. Okay, now our headlights are off. If you turn it to, that's your parking lights, go up here, now your headlights are on. And again, you know your headlights are on because this little green indicator light is showing you, let's see if I can get that to focus right. Well, maybe not. Anyway, that little green indicator light is what tells you that the headlights are actually on. So now that your headlights are on, let's talk about high beams and low beams. You push forward for high beam. When you push forward for high beam, you get that little blue light. Pull back for low beam. If you just tap it, then you are flashing your high beams. Cool. Now let's talk about this little guy here. We're going to hit that. That is your automatic high beams. When that light is on and your headlights are on, now, let me turn off my fog lights. Now you get this little thing up here. Looks like the high beam signal, but it's green and it has an A in it. That means that it's in the auto high beam mode. Well, that is using this camera up here to look down the road. If it sees headlights or tail lights, it will dim your lights. If it does not see any of those and you're traveling faster than 25 miles an hour, your high beams will come on. So the conditions for this to work is there, no headlights or taillights in front of you, driving more than 25 miles an hour, and your stalk here is in the low beam position. Now, that changed a couple years ago. Some of the older Toyotas, like the Tundras, and there's been others, has to be in the high beam position for the automatic high beams to work. But for most of our cars now, has to be in the low beam position on the stock. Then you get the little A showing up. So as long as that A is showing up, you're in the automatic high beams. This does turn on this particular car. This is the fog lights. Fog lights only operate in low beam, by the way. So there's your fog light indicator. So headlight indicator, auto high beam indicator, fog light indicator. If you set your headlights to automatic here and automatic here, you really never have to touch your headlights with one exception. When it is raining, it may not be dark enough for your little light sensor to think that it needs to turn on your headlights. So you might have to manually turn on your headlights at that point. But if you're driving along and your windshield wipers are going and you look down and realize that that little green light, if that were on, you could say, oh, okay, that means that it was dark enough that it needed to turn on the headlights. You're good to go. But really, anytime your wipers are on, you should turn on your headlights because it turns on your tail lights as well. And people behind you should be able to see where you are. Okay. So that's how to operate the headlights. That's what all of those little indicators mean. That's how you know that your actual headlights are on. The reason that I did this video is I was on vacation recently and a customer started looking for me. They called the dealership, couldn't find me. They got a hold of one of my other people, and they explained that they'd been to 3 local dealerships trying to figure out how they could tell if their daytime running lights or their headlights were on. And at 3 different dealerships, nobody could explain that to them, which just blew me away. Now, fortunately, my guys at my dealership, which is Sheehy Toyota of Fredericksburg and Stafford, Virginia, visit them at sheehy.com. My guys know how to do this, and they were quite happy to explain it to the lady, and she was very, very grateful. So this is really for her, whoever you are. I'm glad you got the right answer, but you just inspired this video, so appreciate that. And thank you, everybody, for subscribing.